Eevee, the cute little fox who is mostly known for having the largest pool of possible evolutions alongside being the only Pokemon besides Pikachu that is a mandatory starter in a Pokemon game. Eevee's charms have made many fans fall in love with it over the years, and even Game Freak themselves could not help but constantly enlarge the pool of evolutions it can get, making its charms only harder to say no to. In the first generation, Eevee still had a whopping 3 different evolutions, which by the way, to this day has only been matched by Tyrogue. But here at PokeRebels, we believe in quality over quantity. So we ask, how well did the Eeveelutions perform in the Gen 1 games? Let's find out. In Red and Blue, Eevee can be found at the Celadon Mansion as a gift Pokemon, which is very convenient since all the stones necessary to evolve it are available for the measly price of 2,100 Pokédollars. This will allow the player to choose between 3 very different Pokemon to add to his or her roster. One of the options one can get is Flareon. Flareon in Gen 1 has the perk of having good attack and special stats, as well as having access to strong TM moves like Body Slam. However, it has a few shortcomings. First, it is a fire type in Gen 1, which means it does not really get that many good matchups in any major fights except for Erica, which we'll talk about shortly. Also, it is very slow, which not only makes it prone to getting hit, but means its crit rate will be very pitiful. And last but not least is its learn set. Flareon has to wait until level 31 for freaking Ember, and would be stuck with it as its lone stab move until Blaine bestows the Fire Blast TM upon its trainer. Naturally, the only other fire type moves it gets are Fire Spin at level 44, which is not very useful due to Flareon again being very slow, or Flamethrower, which is a great move, but a move that you have to wait until level 54 for. The first implication of this is that Flareon does not beat Erica by itself. At level 31, which is above all of Erica's Pokemon, Flareon will have its best chance thanks to Ember, but will still not manage to solo the fight due to its pitiful speed, which makes it prone to Wrap and Bind from Victory Bell and Tangela. Against the first Giovanni fight, Flareon will easily beat the 2 rock types because of their poor special bulk, and also beat Kangaskhan as long as it is mild enough to not click Mega Punch and hit. Flareon will be decent against the third rival fight, due to having a neutral or better type matchup against everything that is not Wartortle. After getting the Pokeflute, Flareon can be decent against Koga, thanks to the Fire Spin, which if it misses can lead to complications ranging from accuracy drops, to getting poisoned, to getting exploded on, depending on which Pokemon you're facing. Going into Silph Co, Flareon will be useful for the 5th rival fight, which features Pidgeot and Grass type, but it will have to be careful with Alakazam, which beats it 1v1 except for Poor AI or the Water type the rival has, which can just blow it away. Sabrina will not be a very favorable matchup either, despite her general lack of physical bulk because of Flareon's miserable speed, which makes sure it gets hit at least once by every Pokemon and thus gets very overwhelmed quickly against its fellow fire types led by gym leader Blaine. Flareon will be decent, but definitely not clean sweep due to it again being very slow and not particularly well equipped to face physical coverage moves. Flareon will then finally have access to an actually good fire move in Fire Blast, but guess what? Giovanni will be at the corner with a team of ground type Pokemon. Flareon definitely fails against the fast and powerful Dugtrio with its Earthquakes, and is not exactly great against the other Pokemon thanks to not having any redeeming qualities in this fight, or at all for that matter. We will gloss over the 6th rival fight, and it's mainly an iteration of the 5th rival fight with a Rhyhorn, so Flareon can help with that. Now on to the Elite 4. Lorelei has an almost full team of water types, which means Flareon struggles a bit to find any usefulness. It can deal with Dugong only if it's nice enough to not click rest at the right time to recover damage. Flareon will then hope to outspeed the Cloyster, which if it does, Flareon can launch a powerful Fire Blast. Slowbro, despite having a joke of a moveset, totally walls and destroys Flareon. Lapras eats it for breakfast, but hey, at least you can beat Jinx. Flareon will fail to find any redeeming qualities against the other Elite Four members as well. Bruno's Pokemon can grapple with it and wear it down since it is again slow and does not have a super powerful move. Agatha does the same, though her random AI might give Flareon a chance. Lance mostly does not care about anything he does as well, and can even OHKO it if it even thinks about facing Gyarados. The champion fight is reminiscent of the previous rival fights, with Flareon being decent against Pidgeot, Rhydon, and whatever grass type the rival may have, which makes Flareon, well, very not great, to put it gently.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
The player at Celadon City can also evolve their Eevee into Vaporeon. Vaporeon's stats are comparable to Flareon's, only with having more special, way more HP, and way less attack. Vaporeon faces the same natural learn set problems of having only water move at level 31. However, being a water type, it enjoys a vastly superior TM move pool in Bubble Beam and Ice Beam, which it can get right away. Vaporeon will then go on to be very good against Giovanni, thanks to Bubble Beam and Better Bolt. It can then help against any mons from the third rival fight, thanks to Ice Beam, though it does not sweep. And while it is way better than Flareon into the Ghosts, it can only fight so many of them before getting worn down. It does beat Marowak easily though. Going into Koga, Vaporeon will have access to Surf, which is massively powerful against all of his Pokemon, and Vaporeon has a good chance to either sweep and only be stopped by Weezing exploding on it, which is practically the same. Vaporeon continues to be decent in the fifth rival fight, thanks to its ability to defend itself in one way or another against all Pokemon, though it cannot beat Venusaur 1v1. Against Sabrina, Vaporeon will be overall decent, though again, not sweeping, thanks to being an exclusively special attacker and being prone to having its own special dropped by Psychics. But it can still kill anywhere between 1 and 3 Pokemon. However, from that point on, Vaporeon will solo 2 gyms in a row pretty easily, compensating for any flaws it had before. Vaporeon has a mixed record in the Elite Four, ranging from Lorelei, who walls it hard, to Lance being very weak to its water and ice coverage. Other than Gyarados, Bruno will be swept by it as well, except for Machamp if the random AI plays well. And Agatha will be anywhere from a nightmare to a breeze, depending solely on the AI. The champ fight will offer a few niches for Vaporeon in Pidgeot, Rhydon, the fire type, and Executor if the rival has it. Overall, Vaporeon's pretty good, which is expected by the sole virtue of it being a water type with decent stats. But then again, it has the flaw we discussed in the Blastoise video of its services being easily replaced by another possibly better water type once Surf and Fishing are unlocked.
It's rewind time.
The last option that can be chosen by the player is to evolve Eevee into Jolteon. Jolteon, as with its 2 brothers, will get an abysmal natural moveset. However, the player has one TM that is all that Jolteon needs. TM24 Thunderbolt. Overall, Jolteon will function as a very strong electric special attacker, or if you prefer, a substantially better Raichu. Better Raichu will, however, not be good against Erica with its Thunderbolts being walled by Victory Bell and Vileplume. The first Giovanni fight will also wall it with ground types, though it can destroy Kangaskhan 1v1. Against the third rival fight, Jolteon will beat most Pokemon that are not Ivysaur and can beat many of them in a row, which makes it decently valuable. It will go on to be a better version of Vaporeon in the tower. Next up, it will be extremely effective against Koga, with its special moves and great speed as well as crit chance, though not as effective for the fifth rival fight, which has a grass type that will always bother it, but it can 1v1 everything else, including the Alakazam if it does not get special dropped. Speaking of psychic types, Jolteon's speed and special will make it the best evolution possible against Sabrina, possibly even sweeping if it gets well-timed crits, which has a decent chance of happening. Blaine will be overall the same as Sabrina, but with Jolteon being even more likely to sweep since its Pokemon are overall not as good as Sabrina's. Unfortunately, Jolteon's epic momentum will be flat out stopped by the third Giovanni fight, which has ground types Jolteon is just stopped by. In the Elite Four, Jolteon will be excellent against Lorelei, very likely clean sweeping her entire team. capable of beating some or all of Bruno's fighting types, depending on the AI, and having double kick to spar with the weak Onyxes. Agatha will most likely fold to Jolteon as well, due to its ability to withstand a few good plays from her thanks to its massive special stat while waiting for an opening for her poor AI to come through. Jolteon can then beat Lance's Gyarados and his Aerodactyl, unless it gets caught in a crit Hyper Beam and has a chance against Dragonite as well. The champion fight will have 2 or 3 Pokemon Jolteon beats with electric type moves, and Pokemon that can be beat 1v1 in Alakazam, Arcanine, or even Executor thanks to Pin Missile. Overall, Jolteon is a great Pokemon, arguably better than Flareon, but definitely offering services that are harder to replace. In Pokemon Yellow, Flareon will have a way better matchup against Koga's new team, but suffer otherwise now that it does not have an Ember for Erica. A lot of fights have improved teams, the biggest examples being Giovanni and Lorelei. Vaporeon will overall have the same performance, as it is not particularly hurt by the changes of the environment around it, though it has to be very careful of the electric type Pokemon on the rivals' teams. It'll still be useful, especially against the fire type and Sandslash. It can prey on Sandslash and the fire type there. Finally, Jolteon will be in a very similar situation due to the changes not being particularly geared against it. Has some usefulness against the new rival team in the presence of a water type it can feast on. So, how well did the Eeveelutions do? Well, Flareon is very bad overall, thanks to it just being a worse Charizard, which we have a video about, by the way. Vaporeon is a good generic water type, which proves to always deliver in Gen 1, and Jolteon is the best electric type that is not Zapdos, which, while it has its flaws, has massive advantage that can make it valuable with the right team support. Maybe what the Eeveelutions are lacking in Gen 1 is the inability to have all of them. As a team made of 3 Eeveelutions together, they should be able to beat the whole game on their own. So maybe the real lesson was that all Pokemon are important. Or not, I don't know. What do you think of the Gen 1 Eeveelutions? Which one would you usually pick? And what team do you pair it with? Feel free to tell us in the comments, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Check these videos out while you're at it. I'll see you in the next one.